Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Authentic Expressions. And today's topic is stop silencing yourself, stand up for yourself. And I am going to share with you the sponsorship video from with Zach Jewell from Laurel Ridge.
Live stream is sponsored by Laurel Ridge Treatment Center. Laurel Ridge Behavioral Health Program offers compassionate care for every stage of life. It provides personalized treatment for all populations. Their interest is to help you into your journey to wellness. There are services for children, adolescents, adults, military dependents, active duty service members, veterans, and first responders. They offer inpatient services, outpatient services, substance abuse treatment, and residential treatment. Call 210-491-3591 for no-cost assessment. Laurel Ridge is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their mission is to save lives, heal families, and create hope.
All right.
This YouTube live stream is sponsored.
All right, everyone, welcome. Glad you're here again. So today's topic is stop silencing yourself, stand up for yourself. And I would love to answer your questions to see how we can speak with courage, speak with confidence, and to speak clearly. So I see some familiar names showing up. So welcome back, Brittany and Zach. So let's have your questions. Let's hear your questions. How can you speak up for yourself and how can you speak with clarity? So, what questions do you have that we can start talking about at this point? Okay, Brittany. Okay, Brittany says, how can I tell the difference between choosing peace and avoiding conflict? Because I'm afraid to speak up. Choosing peace and avoiding conflict. So that's a great question, Brittany. In choosing peace, avoiding conflict, I want to always go back to understand how long has that been the way you think, and does that define you that you choose to keep peace and to avoid conflict? At times, you may want to think about other ways of delivering besides peace or conflict. So don't make it so dual, so defined. So, how do you want to speak? How you want to speak truth? You want to speak with authenticity? You want to speak clearly? And you want to speak with courage? So, think about other ways in which you can speak and deliver. So, don't get trapped in the idea that you want to keep peace and you want to avoid conflict. Remember, sometimes ruffling feathers, conflict can be good because it promotes growth. And I think in times when people speak the truth, it may ruffle my feathers, but then it also helps me grow. So don't think of conflict as always being negative or unhealthy, but conflict can promote growth. So learn to look at other ideas, other thoughts that will help you deliver your message so that you can speak the truth and that you're creating truths that is going to be a win for you and a win for the person that you want to deliver to, because it helps for when you speak your truth, it not just helps you but it only helps the other person. All right, I see other names popping up. Thank you for attending. All right, so Jill says conflict can promote growth. That is awesome. So think about the areas of growth in which conflict has helped you with. So conflict does not always have to be negative. It can promote growth and it can also promote what else. So conflict can allow a person to have honest conversations with themselves. Conflict help us um, express our feelings. Different emotions burp up. So the more the wider the range of emotions that you can experience, the better it is. Don't limit your emotions to just the mid range and the ones that's most comfortable. So, in speaking your truth, you are helping a lot of people around you grow because other people probably have the same thoughts, but nobody has stepped up to speak their truth. So, what are some truths that you want to share? Okay, Carolyn goes, do you have examples of effective communication and active listening? Wow, that's a great question. To me, effective communication is communication that allows you to deliver clearly. Avoid apologizing. Once you deliver, don't apologize, don't go touch it, question it, explain it. And if you're unsure as to how you want to deliver it, it's important to write it down and write it down with clarity. Write it down with short points. Don't put lots of multiple, sub points in your delivery. People hear better when the points are easy to digest, when they are clear, when they're stated in, I would like to see this happen rather than I would, I don't want this to happen. When you state it in the I don't or the negative, then people don't know what you want, even after you've delivered it. So, in healthy communication, you speak your truth, you speak with clarity, you speak with courage, and you speak from a calm space, not from a urgent space, a ramped up emotional space. So if you are highly emotional or your emotions have been stirred up, look for call time out. Remember, timeout is not for others, it's for you. So timeout is not for children only, it's for adults that you need time to regroup, to settle your thoughts. So in healthy communication, you want to learn to speak from a place of courage and learn to be genuine in your communication. So don't just communicate to make sure that others get their point. So how do you want to speak? Okay, Zach, okay, EK, you have when dealing with narcissistic parent, is it wiser to stay silent during a conflict? So when attacked or blamed, it might be important to call time out, not just mirror the behavior of the person that has a volatile emotional, expression. So when you see that the other person is expressing themselves in highly ramped up emotional space, yes, you can stay to listen, or you can go, this is not a good time. It is a time for us to take a break. So learn to speak up and stand up for yourself and say, at this point, you know, we need to take a break and regroup at a later time when both of us are calmer. So take responsibility for your behavior and take responsibility for asking what you want. So stand up for yourself. So in heated moments, you don't have to stay there and debate because that's not an effective time because no one is listening. So don't silence yourself, but say, let's talk at a time when we are calm. So express it and then learn to walk away. So then you are honoring your what you said, and it's not about beating the other person down or putting them in a one down position. So the example Zach expressed is I've seen it shown through my life is that when I express my needs or wants, people leave. What are some ways to change this belief? Okay, instead of thinking that people will leave, people will not be able to hear me, learn to think, you have a right. It is important for you to deliver your truth. Is your truth going to create a win-win? And is your truth about, asking for what you want, not about attacking, blaming the other person? So learn to sort through your thoughts and see how you are delivering it. So instead of thinking that they will leave, it might help them to stay because then you can iron out things. So when you don't speak your truth, then the other person is working from a place of guessing or assumptions. So always make it clear to yourself that you want these things to happen and that you are open to negotiation. You want to hear the other person so that it's not a one-sided conversation or one-sided win-win situation. So Brittany asked, are there early stage signs that I am silencing myself in conversations or in relationships, even before I realize I'm doing it? That's a great question. So again, I would like for you to look at your habitual behaviors. Do you tend to mute yourself when big emotions show up or when big personalities show up? And you go, I have nothing to say. I'm not, I don't know how to deliver it. They know more than me. So that itself is self-silencing. When you, when you, when you see yourself muting yourself, even in conversations, in intense moments, in places where you're uncomfortable, think about how you want to show up for yourself. Have more foreplanning, forethought, and because you will encounter those situations again. So don't continuously do the same thing. When you encounter the next situation, think about some options. It doesn't have to be big, grand. It can be just a simple, my thoughts are this. I see it this way. So have some stems that will help you deliver your point. And then keep practicing it in safe ways so that then when the big emotions show up, when you're working with different personalities, then you can learn to deliver those messages or those thoughts that you have. Okay, Brittany goes, how does someone not go back to shrinking themselves after standing up for themselves for the first time? That's a great question. Another great question. In your counseling training, I often suggest that whenever you ask a question, leave it alone. Don't go back and apologize. Don't go back and explain the question. Same thing, when you say something, deliver with clarity. And like I said earlier, if you are unsure how to deliver it, write it down, rehearse it, repeat it a few times until it sits with you and you're comfortable with what you want to say. And whenever you deliver, it's always remember to deliver it positively, meaning, I would like to see this happen. And what is the thing? Don't say, I would like to see you not do this. I would like to see you, listen when I share my point. So then the person knows what to do. I would like to see you support me in this way when I discipline my child. So state your request in the positive. So if you want any kind of movement, always state it in the positive. Then the person can say, okay, I can do that. If you state it in the negative, then they still struggle. Okay, wonder what she wants, wonder what he wants. So whenever you ask, don't go back and apologize and second guess yourself. So in asking for what you want, it is also important to remove doubt, remove self-questioning. Remember, if it's burping in your headspace, it's probably something that means a lot to you. So don't go back and second guess and say, I'm too demanding. I shouldn't have asked that. And if you have all this self-doubt, these second guessing thoughts, it probably stems from earlier times in your life, in your adolescent years, in your childhood years, where you second guess yourself, and when you express such yourself, somebody said, somebody chastised you, reprimanded you. So learn to give yourself permission to ask. Again, try it out with friends that can hear you, with people that are supportive, and then you can step out of your comfort zone to do asking in with new people in different situations. Okay, Brittany asked, it says, it sounds like the imposter syndrome and childhood trauma tends to cause us to silence ourselves. Yes. You know, are you coming from a place of wanting to please other people? So you have to think the imposter syndrome, always wanting to please people, wanting to smile, wanting to leave the situation in a good space, wanting to make sure that others are happy with you is only about self-sacrificing yourself. So don't think of, a relationship is a win-lose. In any healthy relationship, it should be a win-win where you feel good after you express yourself and you feel validated, you feel heard. So remove the fact that you have to appease others, you have to cave in. So train yourself to think, when I speak my truth, it is only going to help the situation. So don't think of it as things will blow up, there will be an explosion, there will be some negative outcome. So you have rigidly cornered yourself into thinking that negative things will happen. So learn to think that when I ask, positive things may happen, truths may come out, and it's only good for me and also those that hear the message, because you are not only helping yourself, you're helping the person. Okay, Joe goes, how do we break free from the reprimanding situation, a reprimanding situation? How can we move to a positive stem in asking for our needs? Yes. Yes, always have a few stems in mind and then repeat it, practice it, write it. Write it down so that your brain will have muscle memory. Some of the stems that you can use is, it means a lot to me. It helps me. So your stem, when it starts in a positive direction, it will steer you towards a positive ending. It means a lot to me when you help me out. It means a lot to me when you do your homework before you play with your iPad. I really like it when you put the dishes away after you finish your breakfast. So some of the stems are, I really appreciate it. Thank you for helping me do this. So when you thank them in advance, then they know what you want. Um, I like it a lot when this happens. I like it a lot when you support me when I discipline our child. So in one of the YouTube channels, in one of the YouTube videos earlier on, it's entitled Successful Ways to Ask for What You Want. I have like 20 different stems for you to ask for what you want. So review that video and use those stems. Write it out. If you have certain people you want to ask from, be it your spouse, your child, a friend, a parent, write out those things that bother you. Write it out so that you can have muscle memory. When you write things out, then you can see, okay, it doesn't sound so good. Then let me tweak it. So you want to tweak it to state a positive and a positive. So it helps me when you are able to, again, support me when I discipline the children. It helps me when you help us live within the budget. I like it when we are able to spend time together. It means a lot to me when you show up on time because, then my time is respected. Yes, yes, for sure. View that video, Successful Ways to Ask for What You Want. And the book, Finding Connections with Them, also has a lot of stems related to asking for what you want. Okay. So, Dora, I see you're here. Great. So, what other questions will help you speak with clarity, will help you stand up for yourself? Stems are powerful ways to ask for what you want because then you don't have to fumble. You ask and deliver it clearly. It's in one sentence. People these days, in a fast paced world, the first sentence is usually what people hear. So don't deliver in paragraph forms, don't deliver in negative forms because people tune you out after the third sentence and then they cannot digest the information. So learn in your delivery to make things short, to make it positive, to have eye contact. Don't ask from afar. Don't ask from 2 rooms away. Have eye contact so that the person can see you. And then when you ask, always ask in a lower volume. So then you're coming from a calm space. And then when people strain their ears to hear you, then you know that you're heard. And also in conversations where it means a lot to you, it is important to ask just to make sure that we are on the same page. Tell me what you hear me say. We do that in counseling. Tell me what you hear me say. You can also do that at home with your children. Ask them what you heard, because then you're training them to hear you. And then if you are the recipient, learn to summarize the point. So what I heard is this. Then the person feels validated. Okay, Brittany says, here's one that I can actively deal with. How do I respond when people try to guilt trip, gaslight, dismiss me after I've finally spoken up? Okay, great question. It's a real situation. Yes, when dismissed. So, in that situation, think about the emotions that the person is struggling with. Is it about you being attacking you, or is it about the fact that they feel threatened and they feel insecure? And in that situation, when there's a serious um, gaslighting experience where guilt is used and then blame is used, I would say, let's take a time out. I would like to take a break, so you can digest it. When you walk away calmly, then it ends the gaslighting, it ends the guilt tripping. So, in speaking up and in standing up for what you want, it's also important to learn to walk away. You don't have to stand there and defend your point and then escalate the situation. It helps to always walk away when you feel like you're not heard. Say, I've delivered my point. Let's talk about it when we are at a calmer space. Standing up to ask again is also coming back when the other person is ready. Okay, Dora, how do you know when to speak up without feeling like I'm bringing up negativity? That's a great question too. If you are already feeling certain things that is unsettling, it is important to think about, okay, how can you set the stage so that you can deliver your point It doesn't have to be during a fight. It doesn't have to be during an intense moments. So you can let the person know, hey, there's something I'd like to share with you. When might be a time for us to chit chat and visit about this. And then when you're at that space where you can talk, you may want to write it down, rehearse it, or then even read to that person, and then state your request again clearly. Don't list all the behaviors that are negative, but state your request and say, it means a lot when you do this, when you help me out, when you're able to, complete the task that you promise, because then it helps me work effectively. So make it simple, make it short, and then deliver it clearly. But when you make multiple points, people can't hear you clearly. So it's important for you to bullet point it, especially when it's a sensitive situation, when it's somebody that you're very close to and you feel like you might be shut down. So I would write down those points and say, I want to read this to you because it means a lot to me. And I'd like to see this happen. So initially, it takes a lot of practice. Once you have it narrowed down, then deliver it. And also, it might be important for you to read it to somebody that is supportive and ask if your point is stated clearly, because it helps to take baby steps to express your point without just, you know, going cold into it. So have a friend or two read it and see if they understand your point. Then, you know, you can deliver whatever you want to say. Always say it clearly in bullet points, and then ask for, you know, the person either for feedback if you're open to it, or if they have any thoughts surrounding that. Then it's a conversation. All right, let's see. Okay, any questions or any follow-up that you might want me to touch on? So that's a good idea. I can practice it with my counselor. Also practice it with a person who um, who is familiar with the way you communicate. So practice it with friends, read it to them, and then help them tweak it. And then in any kind of delivery, the less words you use, but when you state your point clearly, then people can hear you. So use words that are simple, that are positive, that are stated in action form, because that helps people to hear you clearly. All right. I would like to take one more question if there is one that you may have. Okay, no questions. So I am going to summarize. In speaking your truth, learn to speak with authenticity, learn to speak genuinely, learn to speak your truth, learn to deliver clearly, and learn to state your point clearly. Okay, one last question, Brittany. What are some compassionate ways to self-soothe or regulate after I've had a hard conversation, assert after having a hard conversation, or I've asserted myself? Great point. So decompress with somebody if you find that you need support, so that you don't go into this journey alone. Have a friend who is supportive and go, after I delivered that, I felt hurt, or I felt ignored, I felt dismissed. So at this point, I'm feeling these feelings. So share with somebody, then you have a decompressing session. Then it allows you to review the session, the conversation, reflect on it, and think about, okay, I could have tweaked that, I could say it differently, but I did a good job. So don't second guess yourself. If you delivered your point and you were able to read it and you were able to express it, don't always blame yourself and say, they didn't hear me or they dismissed me again. It could be that they were not ready to hear. So it's not always about you and your mistakes. So be compassionate, be empathic, be kind to yourself. All right. Thank you for showing up. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you can use these tools to help you stand up for yourself and not silence yourself. So, next week, the topic is on taming the anxiety that shows up. Taming the anxiety that shows up. So, let's look at ways to use different emotions. Can use courage to show up. All right. I'm going to share with you the closing video that Zach has recorded from Laurel Ridge.
Sponsored by Laurel Ridge Treatment Center. Laurel Ridge Behavioral Health Program offers compassionate care for every stage of life. It provides personalized treatment for all populations. Their interest is to help you into your journey to wellness. There are services for children, adolescents, adults, military dependents, active duty service members, veterans, and first responders. They offer inpatient services, outpatient services, substance abuse treatment, and residential treatment. Call 210-491-3591 for no-cost assessment. Laurel Ridge is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their mission is to save lives, heal families, and create hope.
All right. Thank you for attending this session. I hope that you can use these tools to show yourself compassion, to stand up for yourself, and to speak with courage. So I look forward to seeing you again next week. And the topic again is taming the anxiety that shows up. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you for taking time to attend the session.